Hello everyone, welcome back. And before we start this video, I just want to clarify one thing, that who is this video basically for. This video is for the people who have watched my, you can say, exposing or understanding your life series, which of course you can just go into my playlist section and again watch if you haven't watched yet. It's for them, or also it's also for the people who think that they are hopeless and they're inferior, like they have followed my series, uh, this model and all those. They have given them the solution, but they still sometimes maybe they stay immersed, but rest of the times they just again fail, or rather they stay hopeless and they call themselves like, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, मेरा कुछ नहीं हो सकता, and all those things that um, basically it's me who is the only one suffering. And it's I am special, that I cannot choose. I have seen so many people in your comment section that they are doing over 60 70 hours a week, work in a week. They are someone special. I am just some bullshit guy, and I cannot improve, and all those things, all these things that are coming to their mind. So it's for those people who have all these claims, and still they have they know about the Ilium model or the series, whatever whichever I have uploaded, but still they are still hopeless. One thing is that you are hopeless because you don't know your life. So if that is the case, then just go through my entire playlist which I've made for you to understand. I've written slides and all this, so that it's more easier to for you to understand. That is the thing. If you are suffering now currently, that yeah, fine, um, I just cannot understand life itself. See, most of the problem should have been solved by your understanding of life, but still those who have watched and yet they are still feeling the same, this video is for them. Uh, let's start the video with further ado. Firstly, let us understand what are your claims. Okay, I could not write them down point wise, but I will, of course, explain them in the course of video. So, what are your claims? Your claims are, I am hopeless and I am inferior. Let's say H, comma I. I am hopeless. I am inferior. I am an idiot. I am an idiot. Right. I am a loser who can't do shit. This basically all these negative kind of things that other people might be so great that they choose, but it's for me it's too difficult. I cannot choose, and I'm just hopeless. And most of the time I just cry, and really I can't. Is the and now some people have this counter arguments also that does choice exist? Does choice exist? Does choice exist? Yeah, let me just say, if I write them, that would be just your waste of time, right? So does choice exist? Now, have clearly, and also first let me first complete the claims first, that okay, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I'm a hopeless piece of shit, and all the, any negative emotion you basically tell yourself, whatever negative you can about yourself. And then basically the worst thing, what the worst slang you can give it yourself, as donkey, whatever, I am that thing. You are currently in this kind of stage that I'm completely hopeless. I just cannot choose a single right action. I'm just going with the flow, that whatever life is. Maybe sometimes I go under immersion and all those, but most of the time, I remain hopeless. See, this action, right? See, for you currently, what is the thing like that? Okay, this action and all those, let's say this is the model. This is the model, let's say, understanding human physiology, and sorry, understanding your existence. This is the model, and this is hopelessness. Basically, you have separated out hopelessness, into something different. That who is hopeless? I mean the ego, right? The ego is hopeless. So basically, the ego is hopeless. So if the ego is hopeless, how can it act, right? So I can't even act. That's your claim, so-called claim, which of course I am going to expose in a few minutes. But still, let's just, for formal purposes, let's just state them down. That okay, I'm hopeless because I have no choice and all those. For some people, this some people might have this counter argument also, how do I know that what you are telling is right? Like, how do you know that what I am telling is right? Right? um, maybe you are wrong, maybe you are wrong, who knows, but does even right action actually mean anything? And even if I, let's say I do right action, let's say I do right action for, currently in my state I'm hopeless, so let's say I do right action for 2 hours, and whenever I, again, go out of the ocean, still, then I would be hopeless again. So how can I act? I cannot even act, right? So these are all your idiotic claims that okay, I'm a loser in the society. It's just not me, it's not me the right person, it's someone else, maybe someone too, superior to me, that they can choose their choice and all those, but for me it's just too difficult and I cannot anyhow choose, and just I'm going with the flow, wherever life takes me. Sometimes I be in immersion, and however most of the times I'm just wandering here and there, I'm crying and I just don't know what to do. So these are all your claims. Now, firstly, again, as I mentioned, always stop. First, stop. I know you are overwhelmed. You are a mess. You have created a mess, honestly. You have forgotten the entire life model series which I explained to you. I explained hopelessness in particular as well, but you forgot even that. That's just human nature. What you can do about it, of course. But now some people might even object to this, that no, 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 how can you forget? I listened very rigorously, made notes and all those. Fine, of course you did put in great effort, and I'm very thankful to you for that. But do you really remember? If you do actually remember it fully, do one thing, do me a favor. Just pause this video. Okay, pause this video, this YouTube video. Take a fresh sheet or any A4 size sheet, or any something, any copy, something like that. And there, what you do is you start from the beginning, from where I told you to actually, basically all to live or not, from that beginning. Don't see your notes, of course, then that would be a kind of cheating. It's like kind of test, that do you really remember. Just go and take any diary or any A4 size sheet, and just write down from the beginning to end each and everything, in strict mathematical terms. Don't mix them up, that okay, let's say you mix them, okay, the our restlessness, my restlessness is always chooses the wrong thing. So if you say this, you are just wrong, because sorry, the restlessness is always, seeking for pleasure. No, the restlessness is not seeking for pleasure. The restlessness is seeking for peace, the calm, serenity. And who is seeking for pleasure? The ego. The ego is the one seeking the pleasure, not the restlessness. The restlessness wants calmness. It wants to kind of exist with peace. That is the thing. However, the who wants the, all this enjoyment and all this is the ego. The ego wants all of them, and the restlessness, of course, believes on ego too much, and hence um, you identify with the ego. Now, all this I've explained. So just, if you can't remember, then just go and rewatch it again, because as I mentioned, self knowledge. What were you doing in self knowledge? I told you to take some self knowledge around 30 minutes each. What you were doing? If you really were revising, and or you were really taking some knowledges from other sources, then would be would you be in this state? No, you have forgotten everything, you have made a mess. How do I know? By this very example which I took, which you only claim that. See, this is the worst scenario case possible, that you are so low that you are just, let's say this is the ocean, and let's say you are miles apart. So I assume that you are you in a much better spot, that okay, if not, you are not 1,000 miles apart, you are, let's say, 100 miles apart. Maybe it's the worst case scenario possible, that you are, you have already self proclaimed yourself as a loser, as a idiot, as a bullshit guy who is just a, uh, burden to society, and you basically all those kind of slangs which you give to yourself. So definitely you are in a, I hope that you are in a much better position. If not, then please email me, I have mentioned as well. But anyways, coming back, so how do I exactly know that you have forgotten and made a mess out of everything? See this very example, you are now identifying with this hopelessness. There also I mentioned repeatedly that this state of hopelessness, tiredness and all those, These are the bodily things. These are not yours. These are not your, what can I say, your, these are not associated with the ocean at all. You are thinking that okay, uh, this is the, let's say, the model, the right action and all those, right action are a, wrong action, choice, all this is okay, sir, fine, it's all there, I agree, but uh, keep this to one side. Currently I am hopeless, please help me. I'm hopeless, and I am inferior. Basically you have developed inferiority complex, so now I just can't act, so help me. This is your claim. Can you realize the sheer irony of it? The only thing which I told you to do was that don't associate or don't identify yourself with the dense. Don't identify yourself with the ego. And just you are doing this. You are not hopeless, you are not inferior. Do you know why? This is just a temporary state. It's not your default state, it's just a temporary state that is again created by the ego itself. Do you know why? Because you are not hopeless the entire day. Take the entire day for example. Currently it's 10 11, 10 11 currently it's in the night. So take your entire day, whatever you did and all those. So let's say you are watching this video at some, some evening time, let's say 5 p.m, 6 p.m, whatever time, even in the morning also, let's say 12 p.m, 12 11 a.m, whatever. So what you did in from the morning, you woke up, fine, you woke up. If you're just, worst case scenario possible, then you woke up, you ate some random stuff, or maybe let's say you exercised a bit, out of practice and all those, maybe it's up to, this just varies from person to person. And after that, just analyze your entire day, what you did exactly. Let's say you were hopeless for, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes. If most terrible case possible, let's say 30, 40 minutes maximum. This is just 40 minutes hopeless, you can't stay 40 minutes hopeless, I'm just taking the maximum. It's even not possible to stay 40 minutes hopeless, right? So maybe let's take for an average that you were hopeless for 15 to 20 minutes, you were hopeless for 15 to 20 minutes. But the question arises that fine, you were hopeless for 15 to 20 minutes, you, let's say, you cried and all those bodily reactions, the hormones and all release, that okay, pity yourself, that okay, yeah, I am so, hopeless, and I'm inferior. Maybe some other people, maybe you, sir, that you are better than me, you can choose, but I cannot choose, I'm inferior. Some people have developed inferiority complex seeing me, right? So it's, you see the irony. I just told you in the entire model that don't associate with the dent, don't fall trap to the illusion created by the ego, because the ego will always try to, try to fulfill itself, satisfy itself. It does not, believe me, it does not care about you, it does not care about your restlessness as well. The restlessness, however, is, what can I say, is again helpless again, kind of, that okay, it has to depend on the ego, because it does not know the truth. But now it knows the truth, but it still chooses the ego. Why? Because the ego is too powerful, and you chose to give the ego the power, the dominating, what can I say, tendency. How? Because see, as I mentioned, you are not hopeless for the entire day. Let's say in the morning, what do you do when you are hopeless? You cry for a bit, then you go, let's say you do masturbation, you watch porn, you, let's say, you eat some sweet, or eat any other item, let's say noodles or any other item, whichever you prefer. And then what you do, you, let's say, talk with your friends, you go out, you maybe in the, you were feeling a bit down, so let's say you went to play, let's say play, and then let's say you studied for around 30 minutes or 1 hour. And then again, what you did, you watch some YouTube comedy video, some comedy video, and all, anything like documentary, anything which you generally watch, and you got immense pleasure and all this, very, you were, let's say you were watching a comedy video. So while watching the comedy video, were you feeling hopeless? No, you were laughing your ass out, right? The comedy video, and then and what, let's say, then again what you do is again you slept off again. And maybe after that, after doing all these things, and then again after doing this, what do you say, that okay, I am helpless, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, and it's, my life is over, I just can't help it. And again, what do you say, that okay, I'm inferior, see, again I could not choose, I'm just going with the flow, I cannot choose. So this is the only problem I'm talking about. You have made a mess, or you have made mixed things up. You have forgotten the entire series, the entire some what how many videos I so many, I think 20 videos I uploaded. You have completely messed up and you have completely forgotten all those 20 videos, because what I always told you, the most important thing to do which you did not do, that was mapping. I told you to constantly map yourself, that currently where are you, in which stages are you. I hope you have not forgotten the mapping. Many people are like, okay, mapping, what was that? Okay, so I hope you are not one of them. If you are, just go again. I have just made a video specifically based on mapping. So I hope you remember that in mapping there were three stages. Sorry, four stages: stage one, stage two, stage three, and stage four. See, stage one is not a stage, because stage one is what basically you are just completely immersed in the ocean. So this is the perfect stage which we are actually aiming to reach. So this is, I'm not considering it a state. So because it is something, some different league on its own. It's not it is not comparable with these three, right? So what is the second stage? The second stage is, let's say you are somewhere in the middle, that okay, some external stimuli has come, and it is again, you are in the verge of choosing and immersing and choosing. Basically, let's say you are playing a cricket, playing some games, or you're studying something, and let's say someone calls you. So it's again up to you, right, to choose. What is the third stimuli? Sorry, the third stage. The third stage is, okay, external stimuli comes and you are out of this ocean, but you are not too far away. But basically, if you put it enough efforts, enough, I mean average efforts, kind of a bit of effort, if you put, you can directly, it's up to very easy to choose that, okay, I'll go into the ocean again, because you are not far away. Or the stage four, which should be the, I mentioned that you should specifically stay away or avoid this stage at any cost, is that this is the ocean and you are here, this apart. You are too far away from the ocean, and you are just doing whatever it comes to your mind. Whatever comes to your mind, what basically, by mind I mean the ego, whatever your ego pleases, you follow that dent, you satisfy it, and you hence keep on going further from the ocean. This is the very, very dangerous state, and hence you need to just, what I hope you remember the solution as well, what I told. Don't forget, I told you to play some to indulge in some higher dent, and again come back. I hope you remember. This is all again. You have forgotten everything. That is the only problem. Just revise it. The 30 minutes self knowledge was not a joke. I told you that it's the most important thing you have to do. 30 minutes at least, right? See, now some people thought that, okay, in this video I would tell something particularly new, or some trick, some bit of maybe a new words or new concept which will again turn your life around. See, whatever I was to give, whatever is the truth, I have showed you, I have taught you. But now it's just application of it, and you see how badly you fail. And I mentioned this also, you will fail very, very badly, but still you need to get up each and every time. That's the thing which I wanted to convey. From the very start, when I began the solution part, I have told you so many times, I just have just lost count, that you will fail, but just stand up again and again. That's the thing. I've mentioned this in almost each and every video of mine, right? So this concept, don't forget this mapping. And I hope you have oh, of course, if you are in this stage, it's, of course, it's very, very hard. Because why it is hard? Because in this stage, you are more prone to listen to the ego, because you are kindly listening to the ego more. Like, it's kind of like probability. Like, let's say you have a coin, but you have flipped it 5 times, or let's say 10 times, and 8 times heads came. So it of course can happen. So the next time, let's say you're flicking it the ninth time, what do you expect? A heads, of course. It might be tails also. It might be tails also, no issues. But what do you expect? Heads more. So you will choose heads over tails in this case, in this scenario. So what you will do here is that, of course, you are more prone to the ego. So what you will do is, okay, you will listen to the ego more than this lover of immersion. See, the level of immersion has been implanted in you, in you the moment you were immersed. You were, at least you were, if you follow the series, at least you were immersed for a bit, let's say 2 hours or even one day, let's say. But that is enough to engulf that level of immersion within you. Of course, it might not be strong. I'm not telling it to be perfect, but it has been engraved within you, kind of, you can say. So I hope it's clear to you that even the lover is engulfed into you, or you can say it is always there in you. Maybe it can be weak, no issues. But here, your dents are bigger and your dents are more. What can I say? The ego can throw much more stronger logics. I hope you remember that the lover does not throw logics. Do you know why? Because it's just a realization that okay, realization that your true happiness, your true end of all your sufferings lies here, lies in this immersing in the right action, right in the ocean, right? So that is the thing we have messed up. You've just completely, mixed everything up. That is why you are feeling so confused. And again, this hopelessness is just a state. Please just keep in mind, this is all just a fake state of mind. Please listen to me. It's just that you are kind of the ego is not being able to satisfy its needs, because the ego's goal was never to what can I say, uh, fix you. The ego's goal was to preserve itself, right? That is the reason you are getting hopeless. Who is getting hopeless? The ego, right? Not you. You are someone different. You are this person, and currently you are this restlessness. You again, the restlessness and the ego are separate quantities. They're not one and the same. There is the again the mistake which some people make. So don't mix. That is the thing I wanted to tell you. I wanted to convey that, right? Each and everything when you are writing in the copy, that each and everything in strict mathematical terms, and don't mix them up, because if you mix them up, then this is what you will end up with. You will end up confusing everything. And this is life. It's like a mathematics. Like, of course, you cannot write 11 as let's say 12, or let's say you cannot write 11 as 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, 11 is here, so it does not work like that, right? So that's why you need to be fully precise. That's the thing. So the solution lies in realizing that all this, what can I say, kind of this hopelessness and inferiority complex and all this lies in the ego itself. And you are not the one with the ego. You are different. You are someone else. You are not the ego. You are just something different. That is the thing you want to realize. Because once you realize that, then your who has the choice? The restlessness has the choice, not the ego. The ego can only throw logics, but the choice is with your restlessness. And the restlessness can choose whether it will listen to this lover, or it will be subject to the logics or the manipulation thrown by the ego, right? So I hope this concept of mapping I have been able to make you revise. So just map currently that where are you currently. Let's say you are listening to this video. So let's say you are maybe in this state, stage 1, or let's say you are in this stage 2, or let's say in stage 3. Definitely you are not in stage 4, because if you are indeed in stage 4 and watching this video, then again, as I mentioned, it is not, it would be no help. Like if you are just trying to somehow eh, want to listen some particular thing that okay, this will completely change my life, then of course that is not going to happen. Because I have mentioned again and again in the previous videos as well, that it's all takes effort. It's not um, something so easy. And one thing also, do you know this hopelessness, why does it happen? Okay, and why do you feel inferior? Why is this inferiority complex within you? And you see people, they are working 70 plus hours a week, staying immersed in right action. um, some people may have might even develop inferiority complex than me, that okay, how are, he's so knowledgeable, I am not, and all those. I've got such comments, I've got such emails as well. So that's why I'm telling, I've just observed everyone. That's the thing. So so let's take an example that how exactly these people are able to do 70 plus hours of right action, right? And why are you feeling this hopeless, right? So let's do a bit of case study. We haven't done this in a long time since we left off the usual life thing, but so let's do it now, right? So consider this is you, right? This is your brain, kind of. Okay, brain in the sense that your mind and all those basically. So this is you, this is your restlessness, and these are of course your dense, basically your collective ego, that thing, okay, you which you identify with. This is your. And let's say a person whom you think they can choose 70 plus hours of right action. Wait a second, is it recording? Okay, okay, fine, fine. I thought it stopped recording, but anyways, um, let's consider another person who's the same. Of course, restlessness is there in both. Let's say your dent of masturbation is big. Let me just rub it. Let's say this is your dent of masturbation. It can be anything. I'm taking an example of masturbation because it's much common example. You can take food or you can take any parents' money and all those, so that it's more easier for you to whatever you relate with, kind of. So let's say the dent of masturbation is this big, m, let's write it for m. However, for this person, let's say due to any reason, let's say for restrictions, let's say for restrictions, or maybe if for any other reason, the dent of masturbation could not develop more. Let's say it was only up to this. And for this person, let's say the dent of penance might be large, but penance dents, they don't trigger much, because you generally, especially associated with your parents normally. So it's until and unless something extraordinary, something out of the box thing happens, you won't get triggered by it. And the rest of the dents, again, let's say food and all those, maybe for due to restrictions by society, by their parents or whoever, but somehow they have been restricted, right? So of course their dents are much more smaller than you, right? So let me just rub this, I can, so that I can draw a division line for you to understand better. Right, this is you, right? This is your structure, you can kind of say. And this is the thing, this is the one whom you think that they can do 70 plus hours, right? So what exactly happens now? Of course, let's take the initial condition that okay, you both are immersed in the ocean. This is you. And let me just draw one dent at a time. Let's say masturbation dent, and this is again your opponent, right? So let's say his dent is of course smaller, right? So let's say the external stimuli comes in both cases. Let's take external stimuli here, and let's say another external stimuli. So if we, even if we assume that, let's assume that they're of the same intensity, right? Because again, if we don't, then it would be unfair for any one of them, right? So let's say the external stimuli comes, and of course, as naturally as expected as well, uh, you, let's say, become, you come here or you come here, similar for this person. Up to this it's all fine. Let's say this person will come up to here, or will come up to here. But now, as you are partially outside this dent, this your restlessness is awakened. Your ego is again active. Here, of course, it's here also it's active. Here, of course, and on the contrary also, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The dent has been active in both the cases. So now, just think logically and mathematically. Let's say the external stimuli, of course, will trigger this dent. And when this dent get triggered, in both cases, which one do you think will have more tendency to go up? Leave the ocean. Of course, this one, because the dent is bigger, and maybe this person with bit effort. Let's say the level of immersion, is up to same extent. It's the same. What can I say? The same power, you can kind of say. So even if the same power also, the, let's say, the level of immersion has the same amount of realization, then also this will be much more difficult to bring back in, because this dent is too much bigger, right? And on the contrary, this person's dent is too much smaller. And now you might be thinking that again, see, as I mentioned, I am someone special, see why my dent is big and that person's dent is small. See, it's again, it's not something that this person should be proud of, or this person should be ashamed of, or the vice versa. They might say that okay, restricted life, at least we are not restricted. But can you see the consequences of not being restricted and being let free without understanding? This is what happens if you are restricted in this kind of sense, that okay, and you are also given knowledge, which of course is a very ideal case and does not happen most of the time. And if you are given knowledge, then of course that's good, but you need to knowledge first plus freedom, that is the best state. But of course, it's a mixture of them. It's very ideal that 100% knowledge and 100% freedom, it's not possible, right? So that, I hope you are not brooding over that ideal nature. But I hope you are clear with this, why exactly that person who is able to do 70 hours plus, immerse every time, instead of just getting distracted. That is because the dent in you is bigger. And who has made this dent bigger? You yourself, right? So by choosing your dent. So do you know this hopelessness, especially this happens especially to people who have freely followed their they did not have any restrictions, and they freely followed their life. They went with the flow of life, basically that hedonism kind of philosophy, that they've whatever followed, whatever their mind or ego tells them to do, basically flow of life, flow, whatever, no restrictions there. That is what I mean, no art, no restrictions. So for them, the each and every one, let's say the dent of masturbation, let's say the dent of YouTube videos, the comedy, parents, and all those. Maybe parents might be a bit small, but all these others are much more deeper, right? Because they have freely, in their childhood, they have been freely conditioned, and they have themselves chosen this. See, if you did not even discover masturbation, then this dent would not be so big. And if you did not choose masturbation, and you did not overhype it, then of course it would the dent would not deepen. As I again mentioned, the constant flow of water and all those, right? I hope you remember how the dent works. Hope it's not that bad state that you have forgotten how the dents even work, right? So again, this all suffering is because the dent is very large in you, and this dent is larger in rich people, that those who are free, and they are, they don't have any restrictions, and they can do whatever they want. More like most of the things, not everything, but most of the things. Let's say masturbation, let's say sex, or sex. Even if you have a right kind of partner, then of course your partner will also object to. But let's say food and anything, right? So they have done it up to their free will in the sense that whatever their life has directed towards, or evolution, or you can say kind of natural animal instinct, then that has driven them. Basically, the ego, collective ego, that has driven them to. If they have done all these things, and now when they're given knowledge and they're asked to immerse, and the external stimuli comes, the battle, as I mentioned, the battle, I hope you may remember that you need to fight each and every second. That battle becomes very, 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 very tough. Believe me, it becomes very, very, very tough, because now the dent is much bigger. On the contrary, see here, the dent is so much smaller. And now you will again say, okay, I'm inferior to all those. It's You are inferior by choice. It's You are inferior by action. It's You are not inferior due to maybe that person, maybe for God's sake or something like that. That person in the restrictions and all this, this dent could not develop. But maybe some dent is bigger in that person which is smaller than you. Take advantage of that. Don't. But again, taking advantage does not mean you despise each other, right? Because again, who despises? The ego, the restlessness despises. The oceans love each other, right? So it will become very, very, very tough. And even if you say that okay, it becomes very, very, very tough, so I will not choose this right action. So let me just go with the flow of life. Do you know what will happen? Again, see, ultimately the main aim was of course to satisfy this constant restlessness, which will of course not go away. So let's say this is the ocean and you are this far away, and let's say you don't choose and you end up choosing this instead of the lover. Let's say this is the lover also. You don't choose the lover, you chose this one. So do you know what happens? Let's say the dent was previously up to this. Now the dent, can you imagine that the dent has increased again? Can you see the expansion of the dent? Because again the water, same thing. So now it was previously very, 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 very tough. Now it will become very to the power 6 times tough, right? Very, 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 very tough, right? So it will again become very, 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 very tough, right? So I know it kind of seems funny, but of course it's not. It's really true that if you just see, that's the only option you have to fight back. Don't be a coward. Fight back. Fight back, you coward. Fight back. Honestly, because that's the only thing you have. What option else do you have? Well, okay, you are saying that okay, I will not do the right action because the right action, for some people they were commenting that the right action feels boring and torturous. Who feels bored? Who feels tortured? The ego, not you, right? So don't identify yourself with the ego. Don't identify yourself with the hopelessness, this state, because again hopelessness is the work of the ego. Because you are not hopeless the entire day. If you were, let's say, hopeless for 3 consecutive days, that every day 24 hours, 24 into 3, 72 hours, you were, hopeless, crying and all this, then of course, then that's acceptable, and that's a very, very different issue. But your kind of hopelessness is just that you know 15 minutes hopeless. I was hopeless for 15 minutes, and then I went on to Instagram and I scroll reels, break up and all those, and basically that's your entire life. Can you realize? So yeah, now this has happened more to you because you were free, you were not restricted enough, and your dens are larger. And let's say people who are given the permission, or rather the freedom to listen to their dens or their ego for 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, such larger amounts in consecutively, then their dens become too large and it becomes very, very, very tough. For me personally, for 2 3 years, 3 years, let's say, for 3 years I have followed my dance, my ego for 3 years, 3 fucking years. Can you realize? 3 years on God for like 3 years. I have completely followed my dance, my whatever my ego told me to do, whatever life, wherever life took me. I did not fight back for 3 years. And where did that end me? That end me in the state where my masturbation den was large, my parents' den was large, my gaming den was large, all those kinds of dens, whatever den you can think of, food, all those, it became very, very, very large. And it is again, I am also suffering currently as well. I am not perfect. I will not say that okay, I am not suffering from this state of hopelessness, inferiority complex. I also suffer. I will be very honest. What will I do? What will I gain in showing that okay, I am the one, I am the all knower kind of thing. I am the best. What will I get? What will I get? See, it's nothing. It's not something personal gain. I'm not working towards personal gain. It's fine. If you realize my weaknesses, it's just fine, because I'm just want to show you that how vulnerable we are. Right? 3 years I've run after this ego, and it has become for me very, 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 very tough. If it is very to the power cube in you, it's for me it's very to the power 9 tougher. But still, many times I cannot choose, but still I fight. And sometimes I end up choosing. But that is occasionally, it's not like every time. But maybe considering your situation, if you're not 2 words of, but my teacher, he was 6 years. He was he followed this all this for 6 years, all this ego, and then he tells me how terrible it is. And if you're let's say 1 year, or let's say 6 months, you are in a much better position than me. Why are you getting inferiority complex? And all these people that you claim to work above 70 hours, can you name such one person that okay, they immerse stay immersed in the right action for the entire 70 plus hours? You think they can? Some people you will say that I saw in your YouTube comment. In comment anything, many people can type, maybe out of millions of people, if they watch this video, maybe one or two, they might be like this, if they're really restricted and they somehow end up across this knowledge. But that is really, really very rare, and exceptions cannot be examples. This is a very, very kind of say a very memorable line which my mentor told me once, that exceptions cannot be examples at any cost, right? So that's the thing. The 70 plus hours, this is again just a myth. It's just a a kind of egos trap, that okay, you don't end up doing the right action. Because if you say to your ego that okay, I'm hopeless, but if I do the work, then my hopelessness will finish. But the ego will again counter back but the ego will think that okay, hopelessness will finish, but what about me? Who will take care of me? The ego wants survival. The ego wants to, you can kind of say, reciprocate. But it can't, because you are choosing the right action. And the right action, the ego is terribly crushed, you can say. So that's why it will pour out even more dangerous logics. It will accuse you of escapism and all this. I hope you remember that all I have told. And anyways, I have also mentioned here, see, ultimately, if you that the real, some people will say, if you are too away from the ocean, let's say you are here, then you will, some people had this argument, right, that okay, what will happen even if I go into immersion? I will anyhow end up into getting out, and I will again be hopeless and all those. But the thing is, number one thing is, of course, don't get out. But even if you get out, can you realize that this, let's say, this dent was initially this big, it will decrease. That's the only thing, that's the only way to think, fix yourself. And the lover, let's say it was initially this, now is up to this. So can you realize the immersing in the right action is the only choice you have? Other than that, what choice you have? This choice that continuously, okay, let me just somehow follow my dance, and you end up with a bigger dent. The level of immersion again weakens. Why? Because you can, it's kind of like more fraction, that okay, this percentage of this is more. So again, the restlessness does not know. The restlessness, see, that's a bit of kind of disadvantage, that the restlessness does not know that how beautiful is this state. Why it doesn't know? Because the restlessness itself finishes. When you are immersed, the restlessness is not there. It's, you are someone different. That's why it does not know. The ego, however, the ego continuously convinces the restlessness that okay, you do this, you will get pleasure and pleasure. But the self, the lover, it does not, give logic to the self. It just uh, dawns. It just, what can I say? It can forecast, or you can throw the light on the realization, and makes you realize that, oh, what a good state it was. And it talks directly to you, to your restlessness, and it does not fight with the logics. And even if you're trying to fight the logics, you won't be able to, because why? The this lover is not made for logics. The lover is made for realization, right? So it's dimensionally different. I hope you again recall. So why again we don't choose this right action? Why? Because this restlessness does not know that this is so good. This state is the only solution to its problem, right? Because why? Itself has to finish up. Itself have to sleep, has to sleep for the peace and the calmness to arrive, right? So that's the thing. So that's the only thing I can advise, I can give you. Just fight back. Don't be a coward and fight back. Drop your fear and fight back anyhow. In childhood we had this kind of dolls, that okay, I don't know what these dolls are called, that kind of terracotta kind of thing. It was that okay, we push it down, it get back up again. You push it down, in either direction, in whichever direction you want, it will again, get up and stand back straight. No matter however you are affected, just stand back straight again and walk towards the right action. That's the only thing. That's the only way possible. Otherwise, okay, if you are really thinking that okay, this might not be the right action, or let's say I want to do something different, then what is the different thing that you will do? It's, again, if you just self observe yourself, you will realize that it's just again a conditioning coming from the ego, right? So that's the thing. So that's the thing you need to realize, that you can't do anything else in this matter. That's the only thing. Suffering is there, but you need to fight back. That's the only way to ultimately end your suffering to the minutest bit, right? So that is the only thing you have to do. It's really, believe me, there is no other choice other than to fight back. I know I have told you enough. I have just, this is more like a clarification and more like a opening your eyes video, because you have to fight back at any cost. It's inevitable. The fight, it is like World War, or it's like Mahabharat, whatever, but you have to fight back. It's going to be very, very tough. I'm again telling, very, very, very tough, but fight back each and every time. Be a brave man, like a lion. Fight back, right? So that's the only advice, or that's the only thing, right thing that is possible. The advice which I will give, is more like practical example. So what you can do for, this, fight, stronger. So number, zero, of course, starting with the point number zero, is that if you're too away from the ocean, let's say you are here, so I hope you remember the solution. Choose a higher dent, and just, stay immersed for 3 4 hours, and somehow, make a schedule, or rather sleep. Let's say currently it's 11 o'clock, so I will sleep now. So make a schedule for tomorrow, or and then, just follow it. Just, it's the right action. Because why you know that the schedule is right action? Because you were immersed, and the schedule was not made out of, restlessness, that okay, I will study 14 hours at a stretch, I will not get up, and all this again, there's the egos thing, that okay, each and everything has to be perfect. Of course I'll come to that, but that's the thing, that first immerse yourself. Let's say in a activity which you want. Let's say I immersed myself in this. You can immerse yourself in cricket or any other lecture, documentary, whatever, right? After that, make a diary, right? Make a diary. This is a very important. I currently don't have the diary because I generally record in my other room, so I don't have the diary right here, so I can't show you. But the diary which I showed you, I have the diary. So in that diary you write each and every thought or each and every action you take. Thought, action, believe me, this is the life changing advice. Diary, not in the sense that you write about everyday experiences, that okay, this happened, of course write about that, but uh, write, observe yourself and write your actions, your thoughts. That's more important. It's not like a journal, it's like a self reflection. It's kind of that thing, right? Second thing is that drop the fear. Drop the fear, fight back. That's the thing. Drop the fear, because see, as long as you have the fear in within you, you will never be satisfied. You will never feel that okay, I can do anything, because the fear is the hidden factor that stops you from acting. Right. So just drop the fear. Third thing which you can do is revise the model, revisit it. As I mentioned, self knowledge, that 30 minutes self knowledge was not for bullshit, right? Revisit the self this entire model, the entire this video, the other videos which I made. Revisit them, revise. Speak in strict mathematical terms. As I mentioned, don't again mix them up, that okay, this hopelessness and all this, because this hopelessness, inferiority complex are again just the work of the ego to prevent you from actually taking action, to free your suffering, right? So revise, revisit, basically keep on again studying. And if you again feel this hopelessness and all those, just remember this video, that hopelessness is what? A dent, just a dent, propelled by whom? The ego, right? And fifth advice is that there's nothing, I have really one, it's more like a kind of confession thing, that I don't have something new. Whatever you knew was that was the only truth. And now the only thing you have to do is you have to fight, stand back against all the obstructions and fight it. That's the thing. So nothing, no new solution, no new something really exciting, nothing, no new things. All the old things, they are the absolute truth, the absolute right, and you just have to follow that, right? No new things. And this new thing is again, do you know why is that? That is because perfection. This is the sixth point. Let's say I told you to make a schedule, so what you will do, you will go to a diary, and let's say fresh diary, and you will write from the first page that okay, as I mentioned to you, also write your diary. You can write your diary even in this A4 sheet, which has not something written in the back. So I can write my diary here as well, my observations and all those. But whatever I will do, I will go to the store, or some other cupboard. I will take out a new diary. From the first page, I will put a date 24/3/26. Let's say I make a mistake, one line mistake, or let's say one word mistake. So instead of scratching it away, I tear the entire page and start from zero again. See, it might be a possibility that okay, you have to start from zero. It's of course fine, but realize that where is this starting from zero coming from? Is this coming from the internal right action, the consciousness, or is it coming from the ego that just wants perfection, that just aims for perfection, right? So see, this perfection is a thing you just need to get over. This perfection you cannot go around taking with yourself. So don't give a shit to perfection, just do what's right. Doesn't matter if you're doing the right action. See, I'm not perfect. I am not wore the best of my t-shirt. I don't have the best of looks. I don't have the best of voices and anything. I don't have the best of knowledges, in fact, but still whatever I know, what I think is right, I am doing it. So you also do that. Whatever that is, you have, maybe that you get distracted and all those, you drift off, but just map yourself again. Seventh point, let me write it again, very important. It should have, it should, mapping is very first priority. I should have written it right after here. Fourth point, you can just adjust it, or let me just give an asterisk, that map yourself each and every time. Like currently, where am I? I am immersed. Where I will be a few hours later, sleeping. That means what I'm doing, I am following the ego, right? Or maybe if I might be in the immersion state also, because I need the sleep in immersion state as well. But I've slept a bit in the evening, because again I was subject to this, you can say, kind of this hopelessness and fate. So of course, as I mentioned, I'm not perfect. So but I am fighting back. That's the inspiration you need to take from me. Just fight back, right? uh, and as I mentioned, the revisit revise, of course, that is also there. And 8 point or 7 point, let's say, 7 point is that don't try to satisfy logics. Don't try to satisfy, as I mentioned. Why? Because you will always lose from logics. This I mentioned in the previous videos as well, when I was talking in detail, that if you just try to talk about with logic, you will again lose, and every time, because this lover is dimensionally different from this. Let's say this is a 2D thing, and this is a 3D thing. It talks in a different dimension. It is just a different realization. This is not direct words. So direct words will have more effect on this restlessness. So don't try to fight with the logics. Just do what's right. Just ignore the logics and just sit down and do what's right. Right. So that's the thing. And one thing is that of course, don't wonder of, okay, this is again a very important point as well, that don't wander away far from the ocean. Maybe you are a bit distracted, let's say, from this is the ocean, you came here, and again, just make the effort, just fight back, just like the doll who stands up each and every time. Fight back everything. Just self observe yourself, and use whatever self knowledge you have gained, the lover, the realization, the faint realization dawning upon you, use it to come back, right back here. Don't keep on going, choosing all these, what can I say, completely bullshit things, and going far away, away from the ocean. So don't do like that, don't be like that, in fact. So keep yourself, what can I say, closer to the ocean. It's much more easier, because if you are too far from the ocean, it's very much tougher for anyone to again emerge back, right? So I hope these are the only advices I can give. Other than that, what else do you want? Of course, again, I am not going to tell you something new. Ex- Despite I've just opened your eyes more broadly. That's the thing. So one quote which I would like to again give at the end of the video is that again, it's kind of like, if you forget that, again, it's kind of like, do what's right. What's right must be done. It's like that. um but just to motivate you, kind of motivate in the sense that propel you. uh, I may fail, but I will stand up every time, every time. Right. I may fail. I may be brutally destroyed. Who knows? If I, end up dying, end up, losing something, I will fail. Definitely, I will, because failing is the compulsory, as I mentioned. But I will stand back. I will fight the failure. Each and every time. I will not let it dictate me. I will live like a lion. I will fail. And even though if I fail, I will get back again and again. I will never stay down. It does not stop me. I might stumble, but I will always recover and move forward. That is the thing. That is how you should be from inside. Fully, engaging in vigorous thing, and don't, make a schedule as well, as I mentioned. I hope this advice I've given, just do the schedule, and just don't be a slave of perfection, that okay, in the morning I could not do this, so now I can do this, so I have to start from the thing in the morning, so I will start tomorrow. Don't do like that. You may fail today, but you may have failed, but you have to stand up each and every time. It's like the imperious curse in Harry Potter, right? So it's like, again, it's really really similar. I just don't know how do I end up finding so many similarities with Harry Potter, but it's like, you are imperious, you are like, what can I say, you are subjected to the ego's manipulation, but you need to fight back, you need to stand up and fight the ego each and every time, like the imperious curse, like Harry did. Other, you will fail, of course, the Harry also failed, but the thing is, you need to stand up each and every time, and that's the way you move forward. Just map yourself and follow this, right? So I hope I could have really, really opened your eyes. Just again, if you're again just after this video, just choose something immersive and just go into this. Don't again fall subject to this hopelessness and inferiority complex, because if they come, just realize that they are dead. Problem solves upon realizing. In physical world, what happens? Let's say if you see a problem, let's say maths problem, you first need to know the theory, or let's say now you need to think fundamentally that how to approach that problem. You need to write steps, you need to calculate, and then the problem will be solved. But in spiritually, or rather you can say in our human, I think what will happen is that the only if you self introspect yourself, if you self observe yourself, then the problem will solve. Because if you realize that where is all this coming from, the ego, it is coming from the not your true self. It's coming from external. There's something which just want to preserve itself and not does not care about you as a person, right? So just reject it. That's the only advice I can give. So fight back, and I'm very proud of you if you have made it this far and you're still fighting back. Just keep on fighting back. I also messed up, but again, if you get regret and all this again, regret, hopelessness, despair, these are again dense, the emotions. You just have to fight back. Just put a smile on your face, laugh, live like a lion, and fight back. Thank you. I hope I've could put some value into you. Take care. Bye bye.